Glad you're all here safe and through the storms and everything. Can you hear in the back? Good, good. Well, this is the first convention program, and this is Gloria. And my thanks to Mike and Gloria Morris for bringing quite a few nice pieces, and Larry Everett, and Diane brought a couple pieces too. Two very nice pieces, actually. The Gloria pattern came out in 1930, and it lasted into 1934 or very, very early 35. It did not make it into the 36, 37 catalog, and of course it was not in the 40 catalog at all. So a 5-year or less span for Gloria, which is a rather short time for a pattern considering that Cambridge was doing Cleo and Apple Blossom and Diane and Elaine, some of what you would call larger patterns. So Gloria did not have a long time span. As you can see, it comes in a wide variety of colors. The Gloria line primarily was on 3400 line, and virtually everything in 3400 line in the 3034 catalog comes in Gloria. There are 20 pages that feature Gloria in the 3034 catalog, which is actually quite a few considering Apple Blossom was a larger line, and yet they showed less pages of Apple Blossom than they did Gloria. There was a very large advertising push on Gloria. If you look at the early trade papers, and if you've been reading Mark's articles about the early 30s, you notice that they were pushing Gloria really hard. Our new Gloria line, Gloria is still selling well. Our featured line, Gloria, they pushed it pretty hard. There was more Apple Blossom sold than Gloria. They seem to be sort of sister lines because they come on the same pieces. Gloria came on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 stem lines. Oh, before I start in on that, Gloria is a poppy etching. It's poppies is what it is. The major line, and unfortunately we don't have the regular stems, in 3130 is the major stem line that Gloria was made in. The stems, this is a 2.5 ounce footed tumbler. The stems in this line have 2 wafers on the stem, and if you know what the Caprice stem line looks like, it's exactly like the Caprice stem. 3130 was the largest of the stem lines in Gloria. Next was 3120 was the next biggest line. 3120 has a 6-sided stem with a faceted wafer at the top. We have a willow blue, is this willow? No, crystal goblet, gold crystal tall sherbet, willow blue, and most of the willow blue pieces have a willow blue stem also. This is a 10 ounce footed tumbler in willow blue, and this is a 3 ounce footed tumbler in crystal. If you're more interested in the stem lines, I have a reprint of the 3034 here, and we have an original 3034 that you can look through for the stem lines. 30, I always have trouble with this. 3025, is that right, Mark? 3025, which I always wanted to call 3400 because it has a 3400 square foot underneath it. There is no actual stem line to this pattern, except for the goblet and the tall sherbet have a very interesting 4-sided stem. This is a 3 ounce footed tumbler in crystal with a light emerald foot, and a 9 ounce footed tumbler with an ebony foot. This was the major stem line that they made in color combinations. This comes pink and crystal. It comes gold crystal and amber. There are a bunch of different color combinations. This is the only stem line that they did the color combinations in. This is the obscure stem line that you see very, very little of. This is 1066. This is the footed variety. and this is the stemmed variety. This is a water goblet in heather bloom, and this is a 12-ounce footed tumbler in gold crystal. That's the hardest of the lines to find, with the exception of 3011. And 3011 is very, very rare in Gloria. Mostly what you see are compotes. This is a claret. The catalog page lists a banquet goblet, a table goblet, a champagne, a claret, and a compote. I have never seen the banquet goblet. Has anybody seen a Gloria banquet goblet? I haven't seen that yet. And this is an unlisted piece. This is a nude candlestick with Gloria on. This is really, really rare. That's a great piece. There are quite a few nude candlesticks with the Beaubochet on top, where they etched the Beaubochet Gloria, but not the foot. Those are the stem lines in Gloria. The Morses have a wonderful booklet here they've made up. It's not for sale, but it's a booklet of all the things that are in print on Gloria, if you really, really want to get into it. Gloria was made in crystal, but not tons of it. They made some very rare pieces in crystal Gloria, but you actually don't see sets and sets and sets of crystal Gloria. We've got 3 or 4 pretty rare pieces. This is the side opening ivy ball in 3400, and if you take a look at the side ivy ball real close, see what they made it out of. It's pretty cool. They're hard to find. An equally rare piece is the tall bitters bottle. That's the only one I've ever seen. This is a hard thing to find in any etching. This is not part of the 3400 line. This is one of the few things that is not part of 3400. Here's another one. There's 2 of these known. They're super rare. This is a hunt scene water pitcher with Gloria at the top. In the 30s, they were combining etchings. Every once in a while, you'll see an Elaine Valencia piece, an Elaine Minerva piece. I've seen Diane mixed with other patterns also. I don't know why they were doing this, but sure is cool. And of course, it's a tally-ho blank. The very elusive square dinner plate. These are truly hard to find. They made a saucer, cup, 6-inch bread and butter, an 8-inch luncheon, and the dinner plate in the square, but they're really hard to find. And it fits Gloria so well, the way etching fits around the edge. Really cool. This is a lemon plate in 3400 line. This is signed. A lot of Gloria is signed. It was made during the period when signatures were happening. 3400 cup and saucer in Gloria. And the really, really rare Gloria Demi cup and saucer. And both pieces are signed. These are known in amber, light emerald, gold crystal, pink, and crystal. This is the first time I've ever seen any of these. This is a cut flute tumbler. There are cut flute tumblers in 3 sizes and 2 sizes of old fashions. And the meaning cut flute means that the flutes around the bottom are actually polished and cut. And then they've etched over top, and the etching drops right over the cut flutes. That's is this a 14, Larry? Where's Larry? Or a 16? Might be a 16 ounce. They made these in several sizes. Beautiful puff box in 3400 line. And the interesting thing about the puff boxes is they matched the etching exactly to the pattern. So the top of the flower is on the lid and the bottom is on the base. And these match up exactly. And this is the only one of these I've ever seen. And this is pretty odd, because this piece was made late in the life of Gloria. It's a 1066 stemmed cigarette holder with an ashtray foot. And this is a rather late shape to show up in Gloria. Rare, rare, rare piece. Gloria was made in all of the 30s colors, except for the early 30s colors. Some colors are rarer than others. The rarest of the colors is carmine. And the catalog advertises this as sterling. I'm not sure that it's really sterling. What does everybody else think? I think a lot of it's white gold filled in the etching. But the catalog says silver decorated ware. So far, this decanter and shots are the only known pieces in carmine. The next rarest color is Crown Tuscan. They made 2 styles of candlesticks, and this gorgeous vase that has the extra Gloria pattern around the top. I think there's a couple pieces in Richie's case out the front, black pieces that have the extra Gloria around the top. And a beautiful pillow vase in Gloria. This has acid signature on the bottom. The next rarest color, I guess it's a toss-up. Probably amethyst would be the next rarest color. Gloria is gold and white gold or silver decorated in several different ways. We don't know why they did what they did. This black piece, the whole etching, is decorated. This piece, just the flowers and leaves are decorated. They did them different ways. This piece is decorated, the entire thing. We don't know why they encrusted them the way they did. I don't know if there was a reason for that or not, but can't answer that one. I guess the next rarest color would probably be willow blue. And willow blue is very hard to find in Gloria. Beautiful flip bowl that's signed. And a neat little cheese stand made out of the berry dish, the square berry dish. And then I suppose the next rarest color is royal blue. And royal blue generally is gold or white gold silver decorated. Beautiful console bowl and candlesticks. Really, really beautiful. And then these pieces are white gold. If you look out in the case, I don't know what Richie's using. Where is Richie? Is he here? What do you use to polish? Do you do turtle wax and buff it like a car? Or I mean, some of those pieces are almost fluorescent out there. Okay.
Haggerty's silver polish.
Yeah. This piece has not been cleaned, and it looks like Richie cleaned it, but you did clean it, didn't you? At the museum? Yeah, but Richie did clean this. And that's why it looks the way it does. If this was cleaned, it would look the same way. And this probably would also. Haggerty's, and you do it real slow, right? I mean, you aren't grinding it or. Really? Wow. And do you use a toothbrush or something, or?
Toothbrush and claws. You must wipe the spray off. It's an aerosol spray.
Oh, it's an aerosol spray.
You spray it on. You use a cloth glove. And you wipe it. And then you wipe it clean, and you wipe it actually with 2 clean claws. And but you have to have patience. That's the secret, patience.
Yeah, you can't just go right at it,
But don't use a toothbrush too harshly.
Right. Now, you said silver foam. Okay. A lot of this silver or white gold Gloria gets dirty. It gets dirty down in the etching, and it's really not tarnished. It's actually not tarnished, so it will clean. Even when it looks like this, it's going to clean. It's going to clean, you know. I guess the next rarest color probably would be black, ebony. Probably would be next. There's quite a lot of ebony Gloria around. It tends to be totally decorated, but some pieces have maybe not the tendrils decorated. I call them tendrils. I don't know what they are. They're part of the growth of a poppy, I guess, actually. Next rarest color would be light emerald. You tend to see tableware. You tend not to see decorative items. Here is a nice decorative bud vase. And a little nut cup. Next rarest color, I guess, would be amber. There isn't tons of amber Gloria around. These are gold encrusted. Gloria amber is usually left plain. I've never seen a white gold encrusted piece. I've seen a little bit of gold encrusted. Nice pillow vase. Cheese compote. 3400 berry dish or sauce. It's signed. This again is the 3130, the low-footed form. This is a real obscure tumbler that's pictured in the 3034 catalog. You don't see this very often. They also made whiskeys to go with decanters in that same shape. Amber ice bucket. In the timeline, I left out forest green. Forest green is one of the rarer colors. I've only seen a handful of decorated pieces. There's a pair of candlesticks done in gold out in the case. And here is the either silver or white gold tray. And very hard to find 1066 etched Gloria. You just don't see it. And it is beautiful. It is beautiful. And a gorgeous decanter. With the stopper. Gloria lost she thought I lost the stopper, but she actually lost the stopper. So I got her another stopper, and then she called me when she got home. She says, I found the stopper. So, let's see. Pink. They actually made quite a bit of pink Gloria, which is surprising. It tends to be tableware. Here's a beautiful compote. Seldom does Gloria just have a gold rim. This compote does. This is the syrup or table creamer. The foot. They made a cruet, a creamer, and a sugar shaker. And there's a display of those in the museum of the different shapes and colors. This is a really, really hard piece to find. This is a frappe, and this was to ice juice. And this one has the matching pink tumbler. Sometimes they have crystal tumblers. These are really, really rare. This is the large size barrel. Usually you see the standard taller barrel. This is the older style barrel, and they are hard to find. This is a very, very unusual piece of 3500 line Elaine. This belongs to the museum. I have seen very, very little of this. It's all been plates. Very unusual. And again, the square dinner plate. And this one's pink. Wow. What a great piece. And then this beautiful ball jug that has a pink handle. Peach blow. Gloria really fits the ball jug line. They really sized the etching, the smaller, in the front and the bigger ones in the back. It just fits the ball jug line perfect. Really nice. Really nice. And then the most common color, gold crystal. And we didn't bring a lot of gold crystal because there is a lot of gold crystal. But Gloria bought her beautiful square pitcher. Isn't that gorgeous? Wow. And the little nut cup in gold crystal. Gloria. Gloria ended about 1935, unfortunately. I don't know what caused it. The guess is they were coming out with Rose Point and Wildflower and candlelight, and that was when their advertising push really started, where they hit the magazines, and they pushed Rose Point and Wildflower, and they quit pushing in the trade magazines Apple Blossom and Gloria. So I figured that may be what the demise was. They were also going to what I call the smaller etchings that have a lot of vines and a lot of flowers and more intricate, like Chantilly and Rose Point. And so maybe what I call a wider etching, where it's bigger flowers, maybe that went out of vogue. It's hard to say. The salesmen were pretty much in control of what they were pushing and what they were doing. They would take the things, they would try things and take them to the salesman, and the salesman said, "Oh, that will not sell." Then just they simply didn't make it. I know it's a rather short program. I'm sorry for that. There's not a lot more to say about Gloria because it was so short-lived, except for it's probably one of the prettiest etchings they did. And the best thing about it is, look at all the color possibilities. I feel bad for the Chantilly people because they get crystal and ebony and that's it, and all these wonderful colors.
Lynn, you missed a few pieces down here.
Oh, I missed the heather bloom, of all things. Heather bloom is hard to find in Gloria, but it's not one of the hardest colors, surprisingly. Gloria lived right at the height of heather bloom. So as you see in the case, there's a whole heather bloom table setting out there. There are two formulas of heather bloom, and I think this light shows them up really good. There's one that I call the blue heather bloom that leans more to a blue tint, and then there's what I call the lavendery rosy heather bloom that has a rose cast to it. And if you look in the museum, you will see I've got it on two different shelves so you can see the two formulas. And the one does not change color. The blue doesn't change its color quite as much as the rose color does. One is equally hard as other to find. Of the transparent colors, it is the most desirable, definitely. Compared to the gold crystal and the amber, the heather bloom is the most desirable of the transparents. There's no rhyme or reason to why they decorated what they did. I left the ebony pages in the book open so you can see some of the possibilities in these colors in decorated Gloria. Yeah. Oh, a lamp.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The lamp.
Isn't that nice? That's a candlestick with a nice big Beaubouchet on it that it isn't drilled or anything like that. They've stuck a socket into it. They've stuck a socket into it. The Beaubouchet and the base are both etched. I don't know if I can turn this or if I can do this. Yeah. Both pieces are etched. And this has an unusually large Beaubouchet. This is a 10 prism scalloped Beaubouchet, which I don't think I've ever seen before. Usually the scalloped Beaubouchets are eight prisms. And it does have locks on it. The candlestick and the Beaubouchet both. Cute. Cute piece. Sure. Thank you for pointing that out. Yeah. Did somebody?
Hey, yeah, Lynn, you mentioned that the etching is actually a poppy. Correct?
Yes.
Okay. Any information on why they came up with the name Gloria or how it became Gloria?
In the late 20s, the first named etched pattern, I guess the first named etched pattern was probably Etta. And they discovered that selling a pattern with a lady's name was much more romantic sounding than 703. I registered for my wedding for 703. It's not real romantic. And as they started to advertise in the trade journals and the magazines, they found we got to give all the patterns a name because it's It's just much more romantic sounding for a bride to register for Apple Blossom, or something. But why they picked Gloria? It's not a family name. Marjorie and Betty and Etta were family names. The other names we have no Rosalind, Rosemarie, Gloria de Havilland. It's possible. It's possible. I don't know, but it was not a family name. And the first ones were family names. But after that, I think the salesman probably said, well, Lorna, Elaine. Now, Elaine, I think where Elaine, the name came from, was from Camelot. Because Camelot was very, very popular in the 30s. And I think that's probably where Elaine was named after. But most of them, I think they just pulled a name out and said Gloria. That's a beautiful name. Let's try Gloria. So I don't really know the answer. I'm sorry. I don't know. But it's a beautiful, beautiful pattern. And Gloria Morris and I do not care if you don't collect Gloria. Because that means less for us. So, but it is a beautiful pattern, and it's fun because of the time frame. The color possibilities are so wonderful. The interesting thing about this is, if you notice, there weren't very many stem lines. I just counted Jack and Elaine's case. There's 15 different stem lines in Elaine. That's pretty amazing. I think that's probably more than any other pattern. Yeah. Picture? It's pictured in the 3034 catalog.
Does that come in any other pattern?
It comes in Apple Blossom. And
Rose Point, huh?
No. This square thing predates Rose Point. I think it went out before Rose Point came in. So I don't think you're going to get that, huh? It would be great. And there are matching footed tumblers that are blown that match it. A couple sizes of them, and there's a sherbet. They're all square like that. Quite interesting. There are actually quite a few Gloria pictures shapes that we do not have here that are shown in the 3034 catalog reprint. It's a pretty line. Pretty line. Anybody else? Anybody else? We thank you so much for coming. If you come up and you feel you got a handle, just be careful. It's somebody else's. And thank you. Thank you.